As a researcher, there are so many things you need to keep on top of. New papers in your field, your own citation metrics, and all of the stuff that goes into being an academic, like applying for grants, coming up with new ideas. All of those things are solved by this AI tool, and I am very impressed with what it can do. So when they reached out to me and said, hey, do you want to review it for us? I said, yeah, let's give it a go. So the tool I'm talking about is Scite. I think Scite is an incredible tool. On the surface, when I first looked at it, I was like, oh yeah, it does the citation things, but it does so much more. The first thing I want to show you is their assistant. This looks like ChatGPT, but it's got some awesome sciencey and research twists. So here you can see you've got a typical ChatGPT interface where you've got a question that you can type down there. You've got your chats on the side. You've also got assistant settings, which is really cool, something that ChatGPT doesn't have. And you can go through all of these and make sure that it's actually sort of like picking up the things you want it to pick up. Importantly, you've got these kind of like areas that you can use it in. You can ask simple questions. Well, that's great, like ChatGPT, but you get answers from full text of millions of research articles. Brilliant. As a researcher, when you sit down with a blank grant application or a blank Word document, it can be really annoying to kind of like start. It just is overwhelming. You can get unblocked on whatever you're writing by asking it certain things. And I've asked it a few things, and I'm pretty impressed with what it comes up with. And the last way is effectively use information from research articles. This is probably something that I would have absolutely killed for when I was a researcher. That is, find a source for the following sentence. I spent hours trying to find supporting evidence, finding appropriate references, and here you've got an AI that does it for you. I asked it to write a paragraph on silver nanowires for transparent electrodes. That was my own research field, and you can see that over here, it's given us a really nice amount of data. It's given us references, which are over here as well. Reference 1, reference 2. You've got loads of sort of interactive links that you can, view full text. You can cite it. You can click on an author. You can add it to a dashboard, which we'll go through in a minute. And if you look down here, there's one thing I think you should definitely look at. And you click this arrow and you've got searches that sort of like build on what you've just searched. And now, this is what I was really excited about. Let's have a look. It just says, find a source for this. And I actually got one of my old papers and I pasted in something I already had referenced. And so I wanted to see if it would come up with something similar. And so I said, find a source for this. And I gave it a little kind of little paragraph. And here, you can see that it does so well. It's come up with a variety of different options, but ultimately it's come up with references. It would have saved me hours if I was able to say, hey, I know this is true because I've read it somewhere. Go find me a reference for this claim in my paper. Increase credibility in your paper the easy way with this tool. Incredible. Let's have a look at the writing assistant side of things. So when you're writing a grant proposal, when you're writing a paper, it can be really hard to know exactly where to start and also how much detail to include. Use this as a starting point. I'm going to click here on Write Grant Proposal to explore how, I don't even understand what that means, but I'm going to click it to see what happens. Now, the thing about this is it does take a little bit more time than your average AI assistant, but remember, it is going to scour millions of papers on your behalf. So I don't mind waiting a little bit. And to be honest with you, waiting a couple of moments really doesn't matter in the long run, because look at what it was able to produce. This is exploring the impact of that word, I don't know how to say it, on chromosome missegregation. It's got an introduction, it's got references, it's got specific aims, it's got a conclusion, and it's got references down the bottom. And once again, we can click down here to see more searches that we could make to make this grant even better. An incredible amount of work at the click of a button. And I think that this assistant by Scite will be one of the most powerful tools you could possibly use at the moment. But this tool doesn't stop at the AI assistant. There is so much more you can do. And I think they've covered nearly every aspect of research and, importantly, the most annoying aspects of research with these tools. So all you have to do is go up to your profile and click Tools. Then you get taken to this dashboard. You've got dashboards where you can create a custom dashboard based on a group of papers or like a different idea here, you've got reference checks. Now, I did this on one of mine. So what it does is it looks at the paper and it says whether or not different citations are still credible. So here we are. We've got 0 references in this paper with editorial concern. So it says it's got 34 references. You can see them all down here. And importantly, they've got this bar, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But this bar tells us how many publications citing this work. This is important. And this one at the end saying how many contrasting citation statements about this work. So you get an immediate snapshot of whether or not something is credible. More on that later. Another thing that I really like on this toolbox is that we've got saved searches. Now, I've created one here for transparent electrode materials, but you know, when you're in the thick of research, it can be hard to find time to actually go and search the literature. Here, you've got a search saved, so you can just go click on it. And importantly, you can select to ask it to give you alerts if new papers are found in this search. Reading papers is something that's quite often at the front of your mind. With something like this, you can just sort of like push it back and let more important things come to the front, like your actual research. So I think this is a fantastic tool just to kind of like allow you to relax a little bit more by knowing that something is out there looking for references for you. Arguably, the one thing that is more important for your career than anything are your own papers. And Scite make it really easy to track your papers and have a look at their own impact. Down here you can see I've got my publications, and I've actually put a few of my publications in there, and they're kind of nice, right? Great. You put them in there, no worries. But here, metrics are kind of very interesting. So articles that cite me, 40.3% are open access, 0.5% of preprints, 0.6% self-citation, which isn't a lot, ethical scientist, and also 2 citations from Nobel laureates. That's something I didn't know. That in itself is very interesting to me. I don't know who they are, but thank you very much. The last thing about Scite is that it's got this awesome Chrome extension. Once you've installed the Chrome extension, you can go to places where you search for papers, and a lot of places you'll have this bar that pops up. Essentially, it's a way of finding out the papers standing at any given time. It's a little snapshot, and I think that would be super valuable when you're scanning over the literature. It tells you that this is cited by 835 citations. It's got 699 mentions. It's got 4 contrasting citations, and then obviously unclassified stuff as well. So if we want to look at contrasting statements, it will tell you, who doesn't agree with this work. And I think that getting a little snapshot of where the paper sits in the field is incredibly valuable, something that helps build that intuition as a researcher and scientist, so that you can just scan over things and go, okay, well, this is important, and oh, this is controversial. That may be a nice little place for me to look for a little bit more information. So overall, Scite is coming up with some incredible tools to help benefit every stage of science. I love that you've got the new AI assistant, which really goes so much deeper than ChatGPT or any other tool that I've really used. Scite is going leaps and bounds above everyone else, and I really think that this is a tool that every single researcher should consider using for nearly every stage of research. If you're unsure about something, just jump on here, find that perfect reference, produce that first draft of a grant application, and just ask it questions so you know where the research field is heading. I think that this is incredible, and you should check it out. So there we have it. That is how you put research on easy mode. Let me know in the comments what you would add. Have you tried it out? What did you think? I'd love to hear your experience. Also, remember, there are more ways that you can engage with me. The first way is to sign up to my newsletter. Head over to andrewstapleton.com.au/newsletter. The link is in the description, and when you sign up, you'll get 5 emails over about 2 weeks, everything from the tools I've used, the podcasts I've been on, how to write the perfect abstract, and more. It's exclusive content available for free, so go sign up now. And also, go check out academiainsider.com. That's my project where I've got ebooks, I've got resource packs, I've got a forum, I've got a blog, and everything is there to make sure that research in academia works for you. All right then, I'll see you in the next video.